Wordle is literally saving lives. I'm not kidding. That's definitely the case when it came to one 80-year-old woman in Chicago who unfortunately was the victim of an intruder in her own home, and that intruder held her hostage. Now let me give you the details and we'll find out how Wordle saved her life. Denyse Holt woke up in the dead of night to a naked stranger standing just feet away. Armed with scissors, the man got into bed with the 80-year-old and then gave her a warning. If you talk, if you yell or scream, I'm going to cut you. Holt says that at that point, she was doing everything she could to survive and to not upset this guy to the point where he would stab her to death. The man who got a cut while breaking into the house then asked her to get into the shower with him. This is a super creepy and terrifying story. And he said that he wanted to take a shower because he wasn't warm. He then dragged the woman, still in her soaking wet nightgown, around the house as he disconnected phone lines. She said that the intruder was leaving behind a trail of dripping blood as he was injured from the broken glass. So eventually he took 2 knives from her kitchen and locked her in the basement bathroom. And she essentially was left there. She couldn't leave, she couldn't get out. She was denied requests for toilet paper, for medication. She was in pain as a result of that. I mean, just a horrendous, terrible story. Now, her family started to become a little concerned. Why? Well, it turns out that every day she does what many people across the country love to do: send their Wordle score to their friends, right? And so apparently Denyse Holt later says, I didn't send my older daughter a Wordle in the morning, and that was disconcerting to her. At that point, her older daughter, who lives in California, had gotten a little annoyed that her mother hadn't texted her score from the day's Wordle, a daily puzzle in which solvers have to figure out a 5-letter word in 6 guesses. Her other daughter, who lives in Portland, Oregon, was confused that her mother hadn't responded to or even read some of her text messages. And again, that was unusual behavior. So apparently, eventually they called the cops to check in on her, see what was going on. And officers found her, freed her. It was 9:40 p.m. She had been trapped in her cold, tiny bathroom nearly 20 hours and held captive for almost 21 hours. And here's a delightful photo of the victim with her daughters, who is now, of course, safe and sound. And I think it's important to keep in mind that Wordle, while it might be a fun game to play, it could also save your life. We are not in any way paid or sponsored by Wordle or the New York Times, which bought Wordle. Anyway.
Yes. All right. So I'm not a Wordle fan yet, so I'm not in the Wordle cult. That's like, it saves lives. Okay, you must play it. And in this case, it apparently did. But I'm gonna make a super rando point. So the guy broke into her house, and it was the scariest situation as you can imagine. He's naked, and so she's 80 years old. He climbed into bed with her, and he's got the scissors next to her. She had to be scared for her life. Then the shower, and he brings her into the shower with her clothes on, and then she's drenched in, obviously, and he walks her around the house. He's bleeding all over the place. So the guy clearly, at first I was scared to death of what was gonna happen to her, right? As I'm reading the story, although I know I saw the headline, but still I was like, no, don't get in the bed naked, oh God damn it, right? And so, but the guy has mental health issues without any doubt at all. And was she within her rights to shoot him when he entered the house if she had a gun? Of course, everybody would say she was within her rights, right? But I'm glad she didn't. And so that is not necessarily an evil guy, right? He's unbalanced, and so
he's mentally ill.
Yeah,
fair. He could have killed her. I'm happy he didn't.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna disagree with you. I would have much preferred to have a gun, 100%.
Yeah, I hear you. And if you're in that situation, of course you're gonna want to protect yourself. There's no question. I would not blame anyone in that situation for doing it. I'm just glad that the gun wasn't in the house because he's alive right now. Otherwise, he definitely would not be alive. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Look, I've been open about this on the show. My views on gun ownership have definitely changed over the years, and I think I used to speak from a place of, being incredibly naive about things like home invasions because they were so rare. They ain't so rare anymore.
Yeah.
And so I believe that law-abiding, responsible citizens should have the right to own a gun for self-defense or protection. And I know in that situation, she got super lucky because her daughters are amazing, right?
Yeah,
like,
they're heroes, absolutely.
They really are, because it's like, yo, what's up, mom? Where's your Wordle?
Yeah,
right.
Look, it's upside down world in that the intruders and all, what she had to deal with was awful. So I'm weirdly rooting for the intruder not to be killed, right? And I acknowledge that's weird, but
and look,
it's human.
You had something similar happen to you, so I see your perspective, and we have perspectives based on our lived experiences as well.
That's right. So we had a home intruder, and he had an addiction problem. And luckily, we were able to fend him off long enough for the cops to arrive, tackle him, and arrest him. And he was ill. And yeah, I was within my rights to shoot him and kill him, but I'm super glad I didn't, right? Or stab him and kill him, and I'm super glad I didn't. He's alive today, right? And so everybody's different. That's my reaction, and it's easier for me. I have a little bit of privilege because I'm a big guy. I could defend myself a little bit better, although you can't defend yourself against a gun. And it's just the fact that guns in the house get more people killed. But I understand that visceral need to protect yourself, so I'm not judging on that front. But I want to mention one other ironic hero here. Ironic only because we have so often done legitimate criticism of them, especially in Chicago. But the police, because oftentimes they'll go, she's got to be missing for 24 hours. Then you could file a missing person report,
right?
And they go through all that BS because they don't want to work, right?
Which is why you should call and say, hey, can you do a welfare check? And cops, generally speaking, are pretty good about welfare checks. In fact, we called one for a neighbor fairly recently, and they were good about it.
And in this case, they went and checked on her.
Yeah.
And they potentially saved her life. So great job by the cops in this case. Credit where credit is due.
Definitely.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.